now.
Thank you.
Sorry. Now we have, I understand Ms. Zann and Mr. Fragiskalis are going to split their time. Ms. Zann?
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, gentlemen. I come from Nova Scotia, representing Cumberland, Colchester, the northern region there. And Nova Scotia remains Canada's leader in seafood exports with over $2 billion in exports, as you probably know. That's 29% of Canada's total seafood exports. And while the U.S. remains our largest market, China is our second. In fact, our seafood exports have increased by 36% in the last few years. However, the outbreak of the coronavirus, with over 4,500 confirmed cases in China, has now put the brakes on Nova Scotia's lobster sales and shipments just within the last few days. There's been a sharp drop, which means that the price at the wharf has also dropped from around $10 a pound to around $8. Has there been any discussion yet about what, if anything, Canada can do, what the government can do to deal with this problem if it continues? And is it happening to other Canadian exports to China?
I was actually, Mr. Speaker,
I think you need to.
Mr. Chairman, I was actually, I'm sorry?
Oh,
Can you hear me?
wasn't sure if your mic was on. Thanks.
I was actually in Halifax the day before yesterday. I met with some of the companies there and the government of Nova Scotia. And Nova Scotia has been very successful in developing a relationship with China, as you've said. So yes, we have heard that the certain lobster shipments have been impacted. And we have people at our embassy in Beijing, and notably a representative from CFIA, looking into what is happening. It's difficult to reach officials responsible for customs during the Chinese New Year, but he's doing his best. We're not entirely sure if this is a new regulation yet, or whether it has to do with markets for seafood and live food products being closed, restaurants being closed, transportation and cold supply chains being disrupted, and people just staying at home and not going to markets and not buying, restaurants being closed, Chinese New Year celebration having been shut down, and so on. So logically, this has an impact on imports of certain food products from Canada, especially those like live lobster that are associated with Chinese New Year.
Thank you. Am I going to pass over to my colleague
If you wish.
here? I just wanted to one last question though: is it affecting other exports, or is it just the lobsters?
So to our knowledge, no other exports have been affected yet. But again, given the difficulties China is going through right now, it's not unlikely that there will be some disruptions.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I could just add, just a clarification, because there are some other commodities that we are picking up notional things on the meat side. Again, because restaurants are closed, the streets are, as you've seen on TV, so the demand on some of the imports are softening, and we are talking to the meat industry, and it does look like there may be a slowdown as we people assess the situation.